let's get into this absolutely horrific story. The details of which were first broken by our friend Joe Warmington at the Toronto Sun, but I sort of rehashed his work. Vaughn father shot dead defending family during home invasion. Police are still hunting for the masked suspects. He was killed trying to protect his 4-year-old daughter. What a horror. 46-year-old father of 3 shot dead inside his own home. If the left would have it their way, this man had no right to defend himself. Early Sunday, August 31st, while trying to shield his 4-year-old daughter from armed intruders. Shortly after 1 a.m., so the dead of night, it was a home invasion, and he was pronounced dead at the scene. And this is just more of the same. It seems like every weekend it's like Chicago in Toronto over and over again.
Yeah, and this isn't just sort of adding to horrifying crime statistics across the country. This is the literal destruction of a family. The trauma and the absolute devastation that this family is feeling right now is just uncalculable, and this will go on forever. This was a man who was defending his little ones, as men should, being the Papa Bears, and this is what he gets for it. And even more concerning is that the people that burst into his home in the middle of the night are still on the loose, and Canada's police agencies do not have. I mean, they can arrest men that defend their families, right? Like they have all the time in the world to defend, to arrest men that are defending their families. But these guys are still on the loose. This is so concerning for Canada. And we have to have a conversation about, we see on the other side law enforcement saying vigilantism is never the answer. It's never the answer. But in Canada right now, with law enforcement and our intelligence services and our federal government all being institutionally captured, this is where Canadians are at. If you don't do for yourself, there's nobody coming to save you. Absolutely nobody coming to save you.
Sean Fraser, this is not the Wild West. This is Canada. Well, I don't know. The Wild West sort of has it right on a few things. But if he's talking about lawlessness, boy, Sean, I hope you find the people in charge for the last 10 years, including yourself. Canadians do deserve real solutions, but you guys aren't offering them. And who's in charge, Sean? It's you. And Doug Ford saying, "Whoa, we got to do something about all this." Well, then do something about it.
Yeah, do something. Who do you think has the authority to make changes that would stop this from happening, Sean? This isn't the Wild West. You're right, because in the Wild West we would have sheriffs and deputies, and this wouldn't be how we would plant trees. Okay, we would plant trees in the Wild West so that when people that burst into other people's homes, okay, and kill the fathers in an armed
in front of the night
attack in front of his family, okay, the trees will grow huge and tall and majestic, and there'll be a way to deal with those people as they walk out of court and are convicted for doing something like that. This is not the Wild West, Sean. Thanks for giving us a bunch of good ideas. You know what we're going to do in the Wild West? Okay,
we'll have parades for people who shoot bad guys in defense of their families.
That's it. That is what we're going to do in the new country. But it is exactly stories like this that position me harder on the side of separatism. Something has gone terribly, terribly wrong in the federal government of Canada, that this could be happening without consequence, or consequences paid by the wrong people, by the victims.
In the case where the police are doing their jobs, arresting these guys, then you have judges, or worse, justice of the peace, letting these repeat recidivists, I guess that's I'm doubling up there, I repeat myself, recidivists out on the street with no cash bail, and just a promise to be good and don't do it again.
Right. That is what we have. Man, in the new country, we're going to have ways to deal with this kind of thing, and it's not going to be the way Sean Fraser is doing it.
Yeah. We've got Ryan Garrettson. Let's go to this clip. Earlier today, CP24 put out this news report regarding the homicide in Vaughan, where the man was shot and killed in front of his children, in front of your kids. They twice claimed that there's no threat to the public. Well, this is completely random. They broke into a man's house in the middle of the night, murder him in front of his children, then flee into the night. Now they're desperate and wanted, and the police, or at least CP24, twice claims that there's no threat to the public. Well, as far as we know, it's random. So, anyways, let's watch this. Thanks for making excuses for the bad guys, CP24.
News right now, a homicide investigation underway after one person found dead inside a home in Vaughan. CP24's crime analyst Steve Ryan is live at the scene, joins us with the very latest. Steve, what do we know thus far?
Yeah, so good morning. Andretta Drive is the location. It's a home on Andretta Drive, which is up in Vaughan. A lot of information from police right now. Obviously, the just came in at 1 o'clock this morning. What I can tell you is that there is presence in this neighborhood right now, both uniform and non-uniform. Detectives and uniforms are going door to door, canvassing for any witnesses or any video surveillance. What police do tell us is that they responded to an address up here in Vaughan at 1 o'clock, and what they discovered was the lifeless body of a person. This is now deemed a suspicious death, obviously, and the police have called this a homicide. It is contained within a unit, within a home, and police tell us that there is no threat to public safety. So there has to be some connection then between the suspect, who may or may not be outstanding, we don't know yet, and the deceased person that was found inside. That's the only information we've got right now. Police will be up here for several hours as they canvass and look for witnesses. And if you do have information, you are being encouraged to give York Regional Police a call, and I would expect that at some point we will get an update from York Regional Police today. But no threat to public safety. That's the important part for people up here in this neighborhood. So thank you.
Yeah, no doubt, especially houses so tightly packed. Thank you, Steve.
Okay, is that what, I don't know if the audio problems were on our side or if you guys at home heard them or if there were CP24's audio problems. Is that what passes for on the scene reporting these days?
I guess so. I guess it does. Just
anybody can do it. Good for them.
Way to go, guys. No, but what I noticed about that video was that is obviously a family home.
A super nice neighborhood, by the way.
Really nice neighborhood, well kept properties. But the two family style SUVs and the basketball hoop in the driveway would indicate that this is a family with children in it, and yet that didn't stop an armed person from coming into a home and shooting a man dead. That there is no urgency behind finding the person that did this, or at least letting the public know we're on it. We are actively, like, the way that the police shuts down during an investigation and doesn't let the public know any information is sort of unforgivable when you have people bursting into homes in the middle of the night and shooting fathers dead. It's real important.
We've got CP24 saying there's a connection between, or making the assumption. I don't know if it actually didn't sound like the police actually said that. The police said there's no danger to the public. Now, the guy from CP24, I think, makes the assumption, well, then they must be known to each other. It could be just the police just saying, yeah, there's no danger to the public. Sure. Right. We've heard that before. Right. Because we've got this video from our friends at the CCFR clipped it. And they say that at least 3 armed men broke into the home and murdered the homeowner in front of their family. And sources close to the family say it was completely random. So CP24, God help you if you are making assumptions that, it's okay to think those things in your head, but don't broadcast them if you don't have evidence of it, because now this could be a completely innocent father that you have labeled with the brush of gangsterism.
Right.
Let's watch this.
A quiet neighborhood in Vaughan has been left shaken tonight after an alleged home invasion took a turn for the worst, leaving one man dead. Our Nick Westall joins us from the scene. And Nick, you've been there all day. What's the latest on the investigation?
Yeah, Brandon, as the concerning nature of this investigation becomes more apparent, there is still an active police presence in this Kleinberg neighborhood as officers say the search is on for multiple suspects after a 46-year-old man has died.
It was a shock. Like, how are we going to be prepared for a thing like this?
Benjamin Cabral is a longtime resident in this suburban neighborhood, and he reflects on his time here.
It was so quiet. It was really nice neighbors. We talked to everybody. Everybody says hi. And it happens that at your door, it's not a joke. How many couples pass with 2-3 kids? It's lovely.
News of a homicide a block away is not sitting well. Many people were afraid to speak on camera. It was at around 1 a.m. when York Regional Police officers say they were called to a home on Andrietta Drive.
I saw some lights flashing by from my window from upstairs, and I looked outside. There was a bunch of police patrol cars just driving around.
The neighborhood resident says he was startled by a police helicopter.
And almost like a movie kind of a scene where you're like, why is there a helicopter in the sky shining a light? It was kind of surreal because I wouldn't expect it from this neighborhood.
Officers described the incident as a home invasion. They say the victim, identified as Abdul Alim Farouki, was found with traumatic injuries and died at the scene. It's not clear how he died. Officers say they're looking for at least 3 suspects, last seen wearing dark clothes and face coverings.
All the neighbors walk by here, but we never see something like this happen in this area.
Throughout Sunday afternoon, we saw several cruisers parked in front of the home with officers coming and going. Forensics officers could be seen taking photos of the scene and gathering evidence right in front of toys and sports equipment.
I heard bang noises, and some screams, I think.
This resident is close to the scene and was one of many we spoke with who are eager for answers.
We're getting this scattered information. There is no concrete information what exactly happened, what transpired.
Mayor Stephen Del Duca released a statement Sunday afternoon saying in part, Vaughan is a safe community and I will do everything in my power to ensure it stays that way, but we can't do it alone, calling for criminal law reform. Back at Cabral's house, frustration over violent crime.
We feel like this government is not doing anything to resolve and help the honest person.
Meanwhile, investigators say they are treating this as a targeted incident, but officers are appealing to anyone in this area who may have dash cam footage or home surveillance video to contact them as they put this investigation together.
So now they're saying, so police are saying it's targeted, but they might want to be a little bit more clear because he does, well, the drug addicts I know are kind of dirtbags, but is he involved in gangs? Was he targeted because he's a successful business owner? You might want to give a few more details before you paint the victim with a certain brush.
No, exactly that. And the description of well, there is no description of the suspects. It's just three
guys
suspects. 3 guys.
Dark clothes.
No race, no age, no physical descriptions, no nothing. So as they're asking people on there, did you see the crime scene tape has the Crime Stoppers number on it? Did you see that,
Yeah.
Sheila? That's a real interesting departure from the police line do not cross tape is when they're actively looking for tips on their police tape that is barricading the yard. But they haven't given the people anything to look for. What are they looking for? Three people together? That's it? 3 suspects?
I guess so. 3 guys. Maybe. I don't even know if there are 3 guys. It reminds me of the time during COVID that I can't believe they wasted a sketch artist's time on this. But there was a robbery in Edmonton, and they actually called in a police sketch artist, and they drew just a regular guy in a baseball cap. I think he was 5'10", medium build, with a mask. And I was like, what did you do? That's every male in public right now. Why did you waste everybody's time? Don't even bother. But they did, and they released it, and I was like, you're either going to get a ton of tips or absolutely no tips. I'd be turning in everybody I had a grudge against. Just to waste their time. Okay, let's keep going because I want to point this out because this exact story that you're about to see out of Winnipeg would not happen in Alberta because it was one of the rare good things that Jason Kenney did. And there are a few of them, so I like to point them out when they come across the old news desk. So let's watch this story. I saw it over the weekend and I was like, Carney's Canada. Well, this is your new Canada, guys. Watch this.
36-year-old Michael Prince is seeking an unspecified amount in damages against Dino's Food Mart, an owner and 8 employees. In court documents, Prince says the amount of force used against him was excessive, and he was left with skull fractures, PTSD, and now suffers permanent hearing and vision impairment. The lawsuit says Prince first stole a jacket with a key fob from the store, then triggered the car's alarm when he tried to make off with the vehicle. That's when he alleges employees rushed outside, dragged him from the vehicle, and punched and kicked him and hit him in the head with a hammer. None of the claims have been tested in court, and no statements of defense have been filed. 36-year-old.
So here we have a group of employees that stop a crime. Okay, vigilante style in the parking lot, just like we used to do. See, we used to settle a whole bunch of things in the parking lot, and then we became way too dependent on overreaching. How can we say this? Overreaching government employees solving our problems for us. And now this guy, the guy that was trying to steal the car, gets to go after the employees that stopped him from committing a crime.
Yeah,
okay.
and it sounds like it was one of the employees' cars. Like, it sounds like he stole one of their jackets.
Sure.
Went outside, and teamwork makes the dream work. The entire workplace goes outside and then tunes this guy in, and then he sues them for injury, and he's got PTSD. Imagine being the victim of an actual crime at the hands of this guy. Now, in Alberta, we don't do this sort of thing. Manitoba is allowing this lawsuit to go forward. Shame on the lawyer who took this, by the way. He's probably paid on a contingency basis, so he'll get a portion of the payout, and he really has dollar signs in his eyes. But a similar lawsuit went forward in Alberta. I think it was a bad guy was on somebody's property, and then the homeowner, a farmer, winged him with a rifle, and then it was Eddie Maurice. That was the homeowner, and then he shot the bad guy. He was at home alone with his daughter on his rural property. He shoots the bad guy. The bad guy then so Eddie Maurice, he sort of gets dragged through the court system, and then his charges are thrown out. Thankfully, and kind of since then, we haven't seen one of these cases proceed to charges in Alberta, thankfully. But then the thief sues Eddie Maurice for injury because he shot him while he was trying to rob Eddie on his farm. And we changed the law. We said, this is like ridiculous. And so now if you are hurt in the commission of a crime on somebody else's property, be it by the homeowner or some other way, you will not be suing. And I can't even believe that the law had to be changed. I can't even believe that this was allowed, but it is still obviously on the books in Winnipeg.
Well, I can't believe the rest of the country abides the other way.
I know.
You know, that would defend the criminal, that would defend the bad guy, and find a way of reconciliation. You know, we need to heal this. This doesn't happen anymore. Well, try not being a bad guy. Like, maybe just don't do the bad thing, and then nothing bad will happen to you. To quote the great words of Danielle Smith, you know, don't do the bad thing, and the bad thing won't happen to you. But this is common across the rest of Canada, Sheila, Gunn, Reid, because Gerald Stanley was certainly charged and was dragged through the court system in Saskatchewan for a very, very similar event. A group of ne'er-do-wells stumbled onto his rural property and smoked his wife in the face,
drunk out of their tree, if I recall correctly, and then some.
And then some. And so he was dragged through the court system for the better part of 2 or 3 years, and was eventually found not guilty. but he like the process is the punishment. And so what Alberta is saying is like, we're not going to punish you with the process. And this should just be commonly adopted across the country of Canada. And it's great to see the Conservative Party of Canada really pressing this point.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's check in with what Doug Ford is saying about what's happening in his province. And again, I just showed you what Alberta is doing. Yeah. You know, like we have a premier who, like, there was a clean kill, as you call it, in Red Deer in 2021. Guy found a bad guy sleeping in his bed when he got home. And then the bad guy tried to attack him. He shot the bad guy. And the cops are like,
right,
we're good.
Yeah.
You're good. We're good. Everybody's fine. But that's not happening in Ontario. In fact, Doug Ford's prosecutors will go after you if you defend your life in your home. And boy, I wish he could find the guy in charge to do something about it. Let's hear from him.
My follow-up, just before Christmas last year, you were pictured with a small business owner, Abdul Aleem Faruqi. He was confirmed to be the victim of a home invasion on Saturday. And I was just wondering if you were aware of his murder, you know, what you've heard about it and your thoughts on the situation.
Well, my prayers and thoughts go out to the family and my condolences to the Ahmadiyyan community, plus their entire family. It's heart-wrenching. I just got off the phone with the chief out there of York Region Police. They're using every resource they possibly can. And this innocent man got his doors kicked in the middle of the night. 4 people went in there. His 3 kids are there. His wife had a gun to one of the kids. He went to go protect them. And these scumbags shot him right in front of his kids. Shot him dead twice. Just imagine, you know, what the trauma these kids are going to go through for the rest of their lives. And, you know, I could tell you story after story about this, but we need to do something. I talked to the federal government over the weekend. Enough is enough. People are done with the crimes every single day. Innocent people are getting their doors kicked in by a bunch of thugs, a bunch of murderers, criminals. And you go to root cause. It's the weak criminal code that needs to be changed by the federal government. We're sick and tired of seeing these thugs get out on bail. And I watch when they catch these guys, I almost guarantee you they've been out on bail for another heinous crime, breaking into houses. This doesn't happen just once in a blue moon. This is happening multiple times a day, every single night, across Toronto and the GTA area. These are people that are carjacking people. I heard in Shoppers Drug Mart on my riding happened twice. Two houses got broken into over the weekend. That's just in one small area, but this is happening all over the place. The chief told me a 12-year-old had a gun, shot someone. Like a 12-year-old. You got to be kidding. But this is the weak system the federal government needs to change. Bail reform. Rather than our judiciary system that has totally failed the people of Ontario, these weak-kneed judges that let these people out on bail not once, not twice, not 3 times, 4 and 5 times, just to go repeat the crime. There's no consequences at all for these people. It's absolutely sickening that Canada and Ontario is in this position. It's worse than the U.S. cities happening now. We need the criminal code to be changed on mandatory sentences. You go in with a gun, you shoot someone, obviously you should be getting life in jail, but if you don't shoot someone, you should be getting 25 years in jail. Any crime with an illegal gun. The federal government's more worried about going after legal hunters and gun owners than criminals. That's what they need to do, and the Young Offenders Act. These kids are 16 years old shooting people, there's no consequences. So we're going to change it.
Okay, maybe you could whisper that in Mark Carney's ear when you're the big spoon to his little spoon up in Muskoka next time.
Maybe you could bring that up. But, you know, props to Doug Ford for finally admitting that Canada is in a terrible, terrible, awful position and that U.S. cities are better than us. Thank you, Doug Ford. Like a little win, but I'll take it, Doug. I'll take it. But seriously, has anybody cared to ask Doug Ford who's appointing those judges?
Right.
Does anybody know? Could anybody ask Dick?
Who's
Oh, that's
hiring
right.
the Crown prosecutors? Who's
Oh,
hiring
right.
those justices of the peace in Ontario that are seeing these guys, not even seeing them, having them do their appearance from the jail, or even from the police station in cells? They do their appearance, and then the justice of the peace, who is sometimes not a lawyer at all, just a guy. For example, the justice of the peace that found Tamara Leach in breach, whose decision was overturned, he was just a JP. He was not a lawyer, and he made that legal finding, and he was wrong, and he incarcerated her for 50 days for nothing. For nothing. Those are the people making the decisions. And Doug Ford is in charge of the Ontario justice system. He's in charge of the JPs there. He's in charge of the Crown prosecutors there. And there's a reason why we don't prosecute people for defending themselves in Alberta, even though the federal government has these, makes you have to do these complex physics equations before you defend yourself. In Alberta, you just do it, and everyone says, okay, well, there's no political will to prosecute you. We're not doing that. He could do that, as Ezra asked Larry Brock last week.
Doug Ford can take a look to the United States on a playbook. Like, it would be real hard for Doug Ford to take the American point of view on this. However, he's not being left with a great amount of choice.
Right.
He's got to do something, because while Doug Ford is spending all of his time antagonizing the United States, he could be fixing this. He could be fixing all of the things that are ailing Ontario right now, and he's not, because he's so busy trying to demonize Trump. Like, who are you in this for, Doug? Are you in it for the people of Ontario?
Right.
Because it doesn't quite look like it.
Doug Ford could take a playbook from his nemesis, Donald Trump, or even Danielle Smith. When the Edmonton City Police had a tough time dealing with the crackhead gremlins in the the public transportation system in Edmonton, she deployed sheriffs. And she said, we've got these targeted sheriffs. We can't spend all this money on public transportation, and then it's completely unusable for law-abiding people, because you have to go through the opioid poltergeists to get on the train, and you have to take the train downtown because they don't make it amenable to parking down there. And so she said, the police need help. We're dealing with it. Doug Ford has the OPP. Deploy the OPP to Toronto, like Donald Trump is doing with DC, and saying this place is out of control and it is unsafe for the law-abiding. Here's extra help until you get it under control. But he won't do that.
Well, no, because he would be the worst thing on earth that could happen to Doug Ford's ego would be to be compared to Trump. Right? Like, his ego could absolutely not handle that. He could not handle the blowback that he would get from certain camps, because there's a certain left-wing belief that defunding the police and unpolicing every jurisdiction across the land is, the goal. And so he would receive such harsh pushback from that group, and he can't betray that group. Doug Ford will continue to do nothing.
Right. He would lose Olivia Chow in a heartbeat. And just going back to the Edmonton problem, and I just want to make it clear that it wasn't the Edmonton City Police who were the problem in that. The city government defunded the police.
Right.
And then the city government said, oh, we have a harm reduction plan. We're going to give out crack pipes and other paraphernalia to the addicts, and we're going to have them go to these central places to get them. How about the LRT stations? So if you build it, they will come. So city police dealing with fewer resources, the city then encouraging the crackheads to come to the LRT station to get your paraphernalia paid for by the tax. Just come.
Yes.
And the nice people in their suits trying to go to work in downtown Edmonton were like, ugh. And finally the province had to step in, and they did the same thing to Calgary, not to single out Edmonton, but Edmonton was particularly bad given what they had done to encourage the gremlins to head down there. And hassle the people just trying to earn a living.
And this is why it's so important for provinces to have their own police, to have their own police services. Where everything else fails, you can send your own police in to clean up like really dirty messes,
Right.
and they can be targeted to do that, just to be responsive, because we know that police services across Canada are ideologically captured, and
Well,
you know they won't
and
take
even
on.
when
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, and even when they're not, the law-abiding people are hostage to a bad city council, right?
Right.
When the police want to help, they don't have the resources, and the city council is making all these crazy decisions. You at least maybe you have a province with some sanity, and they say, okay, the municipality exists at the pleasure of the province, and we can override everything you do in the interest of the people who live there.
More provincial governments need to do that.
Yep.